All right, Shalom. I'll give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakodash, the one that's elders and the apostle of Great Millstone, who taught me the truth and sincerity, citation, truth, and hopefully that spirit that forth in this age. Now, the title of this lesson is going to be uh, Though It Tarry, Wait for It, the beginning of sorrows. All right. Now, current world events, okay, if you haven't been keeping up with the news, I suggest you to, keep up with the news, okay? All right, because current global events, presently are that Israel and the U.S. is at war with Iran, okay? Which is, they're not calling it a war per se, they're calling it a military operation. Um, but we're not dumb, okay? We know that's a war, and this war is not a global war, okay? But it's a war, but it's still a war, okay? And this war is something major. It's prophecy, okay? It's a prophecy being fulfilled. So I got a couple of precepts I'm going to bring out. Um, and one of them are Habakkuk, the second chapter. Um, Habakkuk, the second chapter reads, "I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I should answer when I'm approved." Okay. So this is Habakkuk sitting upon his watch, okay, upon the tower, right? Which I represent him sitting upon his spiritual tower, okay? This sitting upon his spiritual tower and watching, right, for the vision of the Lord, okay? So he's sitting upon a tower, okay, upon a spiritual tower, all right? Basically, a spiritual tower that is able to, that tower is able to overlook a city, okay? In the ancient world, when a guard or whoever sat upon a tower, it was able to watch over the entire city, okay? So us sitting upon the spiritual tower represent us watching over, the world, right? Us watching over the world, and filtering out filtering out world events through, through the um through the precepts, okay? And the Lord answered me and said, "Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run it that readeth." Okay, so the Lord gave Habakkuk a command to write the visions, the prophecies that the Lord about to show him, and write it upon tables, which represent this scrolls, or right now the Bible per se, um, that he may run it that read it. All right. So this vision is plain, right? Meaning what? It will be easy to understand. Okay. You know, the only people who are not able to understand this vision are those that, of course, the Holy Spirit of the Lord is not dealing with them. Okay. For the vision is yet for a appointed time, but at the end it should speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Okay. So this vision, the Lord is about to is given to Habakkuk. You know, he's telling is for an appointed time. Anyway, it's for an appointed time in prophecies, right? This prophecy is for a point in time in current in the world, right? So it's a prophecy that's gonna happen when the Lord when it's appointed to happen. Okay, but at the end it should speak, meaning what? At the end of this world, right? And we're living in the end of this world. This current generation is the end of the world because the vision is about is speaking. Okay, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Now, his soul is referring to a man. Okay, when and we should all know who this man is. It's Esau. The Lord has spoken many times how he hates Esau, right? And how Esau is basically Job compare it. What how did Job compare Esau? The basest people on earth, right? People who are not is not their head is not there. Okay, they're wicked. Okay, but the just shall live by his faith. Okay, meaning what? The just meaning the elect ultimately, right? The elect of the nation Israel, they're gonna live by their faith. Okay, take on that shield of faith. They may be able to quench the fire darkness of the wicked, right? And the just is living by the faith. They're not trusting and believing and Esau and they're not putting their trust and faith in Esau, right? And trusting in Esau, okay, etc. Behold, it's like a yeah. Also, because he transgresses by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and as death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all the nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Okay, so the devil Esau, okay, he transgresses by wine, right? He's a proud man, needs to keep it at home. This is what we're seeing, right? We're seeing Esau being a proud man and not keeping at home, right? Not dwelling at his own country, right? Going over to Venezuela's, going over to Iran, bombing their president, bombing their countries, capturing their presidents, okay, killing their presidents, okay. This is what Esau been doing, okay, since he been in rulership, right? You know, because they're proud in him, right? And this is why that war that war that's currently happening, right, called which is Operation Epic Theory, um, is a war that we believe Esau was not prepared for. Okay, Esau was not prepared for that war. All right, because they underestimated Iran's ability, their fighting strength. Okay, and capabilities. Okay, because now they're requesting a they're requesting Iran to unconditional surrender, right? But wow, they're not surrendering. Okay, now you just kill their president. Okay, well, not kill their president, because that's the supreme ruler. Okay, you know, um, I can't pronounce the name right, but look it up. Right, they're requesting these people to drop their arms and surrender. Okay, because this devil think he can just do whatever he want. He think he can just can go to another country, bomb that country, and then people just give up. No, right? That's a proud in him. Okay, using thinking his military might, what a rich man what's that scripture? A rich man might is his strong city, right? Which in order to have a strong city, you have to have a strong military. Okay, so this devil having the greatest military on earth, you know, that will make you proud. Okay, I don't see how that will make anyone proud. Someone who's the richest nation on earth, has the strongest military on earth, richest military on earth, you know, number one military on earth, that will make you proud. Okay, who enlarges his desire as hell and as devil cannot be satisfied. They gather unto him all nations and heap unto him all people. Okay, and this is what you also see, is right. Esau gathered him unto him. He's not he him bombing Iran is not enough. Okay, to make him satisfied. It's not enough to please his anger. Okay, he want to make a choice in choosing the real leader. Right, he wants to completely puppet Iran. Okay, under their control. Okay, and ultimately, we know that Donald Trump, he's just a puppet. Doing the biddings of his owner, right? Which is what the top maker should be. Okay, and the people who paying the prices for this, right, is you American people, you American citizens, right, you masses, because you're fighting a war that is not even not yours to fight. Okay, really, because Iran, you know, they don't really want to fight America. They want Israel, all right, Israelis, right? They want that nation, okay, for whatever, because they know that ultimately Israeli, right, which are the Amalekites in the Bible, they're trying to ultimately they want that whole region, that whole so-called Middle East region, which is really western east, okay. They want that whole region, okay. They want Saudi Arabia, Iran, they want all that, right? Because they think that they have a God-given right to that region. No, okay, they're not the people, right? They're not the chosen people in the Bible. They don't have a God-given right to anything. Ultimately, the only thing they have God-given right to is serving the nation, their true people, right? Which are the Israelites, the so-called Negro, Hispanic, Latino, Negro, Hispanic, Native Americans, okay, Jamaicans, etc. Should not all these take upon up a parable against him, and a taunted proverb against him, and say, "Woe to him that increases that which is not his, how long, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay," right? And that word is going to be just another debt. Um, just that word just gonna bring them up, put more debt onto America, okay? And we know that Esau haven't paid. That what thick clay represent, right? Clay represent goes back to something. I can't remember on top of my head, but it goes back to the debt, abayat, right? Clay goes back to Hebrew abayat, which means debt, okay? So, and there's your debt clock, right? And we know that the U.S. is trillions of dollars in debt, okay? Trillions of dollars in debt that they won't be able to never pay back. The only people paying back that debt is you American citizens, the masses, right? And that debt will never be paid, okay? All right. You hear Ezekiel 38. Because Ezekiel 38 is very it's gonna ultimately it's coming to pass, but it don't fully come to pass. Is once that MOTB is made mandatory. Ezekiel 38 and 1 reads, and the word of the Lord Yahweh Bashar came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach, in Tubal and prophesy against him. Now, this is talk about Russia, okay? This is Ezekiel setting his face, meaning he prophesies against Russia. And say, thus says the Lord Most High, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Okay, so he's against Russia, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So this is referring to Russian military. Okay, so the Lord gonna ultimately bring Russia into this war, into the third war. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them. So this is referring to the great nations. Okay, all right. And Persia ultimately represent Iran. Okay, now Iran is not. I don't think Iran is a part of British, right? But ultimately, Iran is still a part of is Persia, right? And we know Russia currently, there's news report that Russia is giving military intelligence to Iran on where about the U.S. bases are located, right? Which is ultimately that's that shows that Russia is supporting is on Iran's side, right? With this fight against Israel and the U.S. Okay, so allies are being made, right? All of them with shield and helmet. Okay, so Turkey, right? Because Turkey, which I'm gonna go into, right, which goes back to Garma or Togarma, okay, which is Turkey, but Turkey, Russia, um, Iran, okay, um, South Africa, um, Russia, no, China, um, I believe. Well, I'm kind of. Well, I don't put. I'll put China out because China, they who knows, right? But really, the main not Brazil, but Russia, Turkey, Iran, right? Right now, they're a key part in this prophecy, Ezekiel 38 prophecy, right? Because there are reports that Turkey even that Israeli is gonna shoot bombs on Turkey, right? And if that happened, then we know that and Turkey is a NATO ally. Okay, so how so the Lord is gonna make it happen where Turkey either get kicked out NATO or Turkey get allied with Russia, right? However the Lord make it happen, He gonna make it happen. Okay, Gomar and all his bands, and Gomar and all his army, the house of Togarmah, which is Turkey, of the north quarters, and all his band, and many people with thee. And these are all at Soviet state too. Okay, so this is talking about the military. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and thou a guard unto them. Right. So Russia is gonna be a guard unto these Soviet states. Right. They're gonna be these. So they're gonna be allies. Okay. At the many days thou shalt be visited. In the latter years thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but has brought forth out of the nations, and thou shalt dwell safely all of them. All right. Thou shalt send and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. Thus says the Lord the Most High, it should also come to pass at the same time should things come to thy mind, and thou should think of evil thoughts, and thou should say, I will go into the land of unwalled villages, I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without without walls and having neither bars nor gates. All right, so this is talking about Russia, okay, going meaning going to the land of unwalled villages, just referring to the U.S., okay, Babylon the Great, America, all right, because we're doing it safely, right? We have what, two oceans that separate, you know, talking to American people, right? They're doing it safely. Two oceans separate them, the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, okay, you know, and you know, this is why this is why Trump's so proud, right? You know, especially when Zelensky, the Ukraine president, made a statement that they're going to eventually feel it, right? All right, and Trump said, "You don't know what we're gonna feel, right?" He said we're gonna be around for years to come. All right, but guess what? That's a problem, right? Because these young things are not gonna experience war, all right? Experience how it feels to be war, how it feels to be a third world country, but they are. Okay, the Lord says so. All right, the Lord, when His Lord speak, His voice, what the word of the Lord, you know, it should not return back into a void. It should accomplish everything he wanted to accomplish. Okay, and these people are at risk, right? Again, they haven't experienced war, right? At least a war, as in like missiles and missiles being shot, okay, on you, day in day out, okay, being shot by nuclear. But these, the Americans haven't experienced that type of war, okay. The only war that America have experienced is Revolutionary War and War of Independence, okay. And those weren't nothing, okay. Imagine a modern war, right? These people. That's why the scripture speaks about how this time is gonna be a time like no other. You know, great tribulation. You know, pain. The day of the Lord gonna be like a time like or like nothing. Because in order to complete the white Babylon the Great off the face of the planet Earth, it's gonna be by nuclear bombs. Okay, right? And these people. The thing is, these people are not gonna. It's not gonna know what's gonna happen, right? These people are blind, right? The masses, they're looking at this war and they're looking at it fleshly, carnally, right? They're not looking at it spiritually, right? They're only so the Lord, He's putting. When I mean, like, there's only a few people that are not even in the truth, right? And they look at the spiritual aspect of this war. They think about Armageddon, okay, the coming of the Lord, okay, you know, but you know, other than that, right, which are basically people who are like Bible dumb person, like people are in the military, they see they see this prophecy, right? But other than that, okay, the majority of the masses that they're not looking at this war as nothing that they should be afraid of, okay? Because they're living they're living um they're because what they're proud, right? That they think that America, right, and their military is going to protect them. This is Ecclesiastes 9:11 reads. I'll never do that one yet. Let me get Matthew 24. Matthew 24 and 6 reads, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Okay? So we are hearing and seeing wars and rumors of wars. For nations shall rise against nations, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in very diverse places, right? And then there's earthquakes and famine and pestilence in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So all these are beginning of sorrows, okay? So though it tear away for it, okay, the beginning of sorrows, right? The beginning of sorrows feels like it's cheering you, right? But we're but we saying that been fulfilled now, all right? That prophecy has been fulfilled, all right? Wars and rumors of wars, okay, earthquake, pestilence, right? So these are big. We're living the beginning of sorrows, right? It's not gonna get that war. That's no, that's like that's something that you can't just forget about, okay? So that means that we only gonna decline from here, all right? Esau. When I say we, I don't say we. I don't say that Esau, okay? His power is only going to decline from here, okay? His rulership is only going to decline from here. Yeah, yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. All right, it's like you. I'm gonna start here. Matthew the 24th chapter, verse 4. Read, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. So all these words that were spoken by Yahushua are from time that all these words that were spoken by Yahushua from time of old. All right, um, these words are planned out today. Okay, so we're living in that generation, right? That the Lord said that should not pass away to these words be fulfilled. Right, that generation is here. Okay, believe it or not, the reincarnation is biblical. Biblical. Okay, but of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Okay, so that day and time knoweth no man. Not the Lord doesn't know that day, the day when He will be returned on the Father. Okay, The angels don't know. Only the Father knows. All right, when the Lord will return, which basically marks official, the official end of Esau world. Okay, by the days of Noe, or so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noe entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be, right? So these people are only gonna know, right, that this is the end of the world when they ultimately, I believe, it's ultimately gonna come. They're gonna know it's the end of the world when ultimately Esau made that to be made, make it mandatory, and when those missiles and ICBM start raining down, okay, on them, right? That's gonna be the flood, okay? When not Esau, but when the Russia and China start raining those missiles down on America, that when people gonna know that yeah, this is the end of the world, right? They're not seeing tomorrow, okay? This is and ultimately the turn top is gonna be our child and church appearing from the clouds and bring further destruction and also beam up his elect, okay? Because when people don't get beamed up to their church, right, they gonna want to escape, right? They're gonna want to those so-called atheists, they look at the Lord and the angel as aliens, right? The word aliens just means foreigner, right? Which you know that's a whole nother video and a whole nother time, but they gonna want to be they gonna want to go with those aliens, right? But when they want to go with those aliens, because people gonna want to escape that destruction, right? But when they don't get beamed up, they're gonna know that yeah they are dead, right? They're not gonna see tomorrow, okay? The tomorrow is gonna be in the kingdom of heaven for you Israelites, okay? You 2/3 that are going down this side, but Esau, right, the nation, their tomorrow is gonna be them being slaves in the kingdom of heaven, okay? Then shall two be in the field, the one should be taken, the other one left, like I just mentioned, right? One being the left being beamed up, okay, and the one being left behind to get judged by that thermonuclear fire, okay? Because this is what that thermonuclear fire is gonna wet. It's gonna be the one that gonna effectively it's gonna rain, okay, on this earth, right? It's what gonna rain on this earth, okay? So so if you've been left, right, been left not a good thing, okay? Two women should be grinding in the mill. The one should be taken, the other left, okay? Watch therefore, for you know not what hour your Lord doth come, right? Okay, so this is a commandment to us, all right? To those that follow the Lord, okay, to the believers, to the hopeful elect, that we have to watch, right? We have to continually watch, right? We shouldn't miss a day, right, of not watching the news, not watching global events occurring, right, and filtering out through the word of the Lord, right? You know, But know this: the good man of the house had known and well watched the thief would come in. He would have watched and would not have suffered his house be broken up. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not the Son of Man cometh. Okay, who then is a faithful and wise servant, who his Lord has made ruler over his household to give them meat in due season. Okay, blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find him so doing. What? Watching, right? You know, be ready, being ready to be delivered. Okay, you know, and that blessing is what you've been ultimately redeemed from this earth. You've been saved from this earth. Okay, you've been saved from that destruction. Okay, so we can't not lose patience, right? Because what we these times that we're coming, we're the harder we see these these demons, right? They're gonna come harder. Okay, you know, the harder we see prophecies coming to pass, right? These demons they're not gonna lay up. They're gonna come harder, right? You know, that fire is they're gonna be turned up, right? And there are gonna be a lot of people that they're gonna want to give up. They're going to lose patience, right? But guess what? Those that lose patience, what did the Lord say? Those that knew the will of the Lord and basically lose patience, they're gonna be beaten with many stripes. Okay, anyway, you're gonna be judged. Okay, you know, so we cannot lose patience. Okay, because this is what the demons want. They want us to lose patience. But Esau, he wants us to lose patience. He wants to give up. He wants to stop preaching. He wants to stop watching. He wants us to stop exposing his wickedness, right? But if we do that, right, we don't what all our hard work, okay, all the sacrifice we made, right, it's gonna mean nothing, okay. It's not gonna mean anything, right? Those treasures that we be storing in heaven, it's not gonna mean anything, right? They're gonna be given to the next brother, right? You know. So this is why we have to constantly pray daily that the Lord take His Holy Spirit now off us. Lord, He forgive us our transgressions, our sins, our iniquities, etc. Right? So we have to constantly stay in the good graces of the Lord, Yahweh Shah, right? Daily. So this is gonna be the judgment, right? Verily I say unto you that he shall make him ruler over all of his goods. But and if that evil servant shall say in his heart, his mind, my Lord delays his coming. So you have people out here that saying that the Lord gonna delay his coming, right? Or the Lord might come and he might not even come, right? Where we think he's gonna come, that he might come like 2050 or 3000. Who knows, right? You know, this is gonna be his judgment, and and shall begin to smite his fellow servants and to eat and drink with the drunken. The Lord that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder and point him his portion with the hypocrites. There should be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So you'll be that evil servant will be appointed with the portion of the hypocrites, which is that thermonuclear fire. Right? That's gonna be your judgment, right? Of you, losing your patience, of you, ultimately, because the land of the Lord coming, like if a doubt in your mind comes and say that the Lord is not gonna come, right? He's gonna come lay down the road. That's ultimately you losing your faith and you lose patience, all right? And you're gonna be smitten, right? And judged, okay? In that thermonuclear fire. So 1 Corinthians 9, right? Is all it goes into what? It goes into, um, enduring, okay, this work, during this walk, okay? 1 Corinthians 9:16, I'm start here. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity which is necessary is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. So, woe unto us, okay, if we preach not the gospel, if we do not do the will of the Lord, if we lose patience, if we lose our faith, woe unto us, right? Because what's gonna happen? We're gonna receive the portion of the hypocrites. We're gonna receive the portion of the wicked, right? This is not something where we can just, this is not something that we can glory of, right? Because we like our elder apostles always saying, this glory, this word, this truth, us preaching it for the glory of the Lord Yahweh Shah, ultimately, only. It's not for the glory of us. It's for the glory of Yahweh Shah. It's the Lord showing His power through us, okay? His glory through us, okay? Because many people look at the people in the world might have look at you like as nothing, right? As useless, as worthless, as nothing, okay? But when they see you preaching, okay, in boldness, right, and see you proclaiming the word of the Lord, and seeing you, you know, ultimately speaking of the true names of the Lord, right, you know, people minds start to, they start to bug out. So they just start to bug out, or might get confused, because of the glory of the Lord showing. For if I do this thing with willingly, I have a reward. Doing this thing willingly, I have a reward. But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed to me, right? What is my reward? Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Hamashiach without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. Okay, so we cannot be abusing our power in the gospel. Selling the truth. Okay, you know, or using it for convenience sake, or to heap disciples unto yourselves, right? Or for lucre. Okay, like many people have done. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I might gain the more. And unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain the Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I may gain them that are under the law. Okay, so to them that are without law, as without law, being not without law to the Most High, but under the law to Yahweh Shah, that I may gain them that are without law. To the weak, to the weak become I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I'll make all things to all men, that I might be all by all means save some. Right. So that's what the Paul's office. Okay. To them, like it. And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I may be partakers thereof with you. Know ye not that they they that which run in the race run all, but one receives a prize. So run that you may attain, right? So people who partake in marathon runners, right? They, okay, you know, you have a number of people, right? Thousands of people that partake in marathons, right? Half marathon, full marathon, etc., right? Which lasts for hours, okay? They do it to receive a prize, right? Whether it's money or whatever it may be. Some like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, right? Some people do it for money, okay? They train for this one race, right, to win a prize, okay, to win money, right? So run that you may attain. So we're running, right? This spiritual race, right? We're running, right? To attain what? To attain salvation, to attain the kingdom of heaven. Okay. And every man that strives for the masteries is temperate in all things. Now they do it to attain a corruptible crown, but we are incorruptible, right? So these are running. They're running to attain a corruptible crown, right? Money is a corruptible crown, okay? Because this current system, right, is gonna go cashless, right? So ultimately, and for you to continue to be a part of the system, you have to take a mark of the beast. So you want your money, right, etc. You know, you still want to have your money, right? You have to instead buy instead of buy and sell, you have to um partake in the system, right? So so everything of this world is just is corruptible and it's gonna lead to destruction. But this incorruptible crown, which is crown of life, salvation, deliverance, kingdom of heaven, right? That's what we're running to attain it. So we're doing something. So this spiritual race, right, is for something incorruptible, something that's not destructible, right? Something that is um is something that's worth running for. Okay, you know, because people when they do marathon races, right, they can end up dying, they can end up falling out, you know. But us, that brothers that may die, right, in this race, right, that may they may give up. The Lord may have the spirit be returned back unto Him, right, in this spiritual race, right. They have a roaring kingdom of heaven, right, you know, waiting for them. Okay, I therefore so run, not as uncertainty, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. Yeah, so we're not running just for nothing, right? Like these marathon runners, right? They're running for nothing, right? They're running just to prove either be a best time or just to prove themselves, right? Because we know that majority of people that do marathon running, they're not gonna win, right? So they're running at uncertainty. They don't know if they're gonna win or not, right? You know, but us, you know, we're not running for uncertainty, okay? We're not beating the air, okay? You know, we're not shadow boxing, okay? We're not fighting, right? We're not shadow boxing, right? We're fighting and we're running for a purpose, okay? We're running for something we know we're gonna attain, and we continue to run, continue to strive for it, okay? But I keep under my body and break it into subjection, lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be cast away, right? You know, and this goes for the brothers that teach, right, and prophesy, right? You know, we have to keep our bodies under subjection, meaning what we cannot partake in the carnal, really in the carnal things. Okay, fuck it. We cannot partake in the wickedness of this world, right? You know, because the demons and say he can creep up, right? Scripture speaks about how Satan go about in the world like a roaring lion, seeking who he can devour. You know, don't let Satan get you off your p's and q's. Okay, do not let Satan get you all your p's and q's. All right, do not let Satan get you all your p's and q's. Because that's one way you can get thrown out of the truth. All right, you can get cast away. This Ecclesiastes 9 and 10 reads, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do it with all thy might, for there's no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. Okay? I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to man of skill, but time and chance happen to them all. So this race, spiritual race that we're running, right, that we're doing it with raw might, is not for those that can run fast. It doesn't matter if you can quote many precepts, right? It doesn't matter if you on the block non-stop, right? You at camp every single day, no break, okay? It doesn't matter, right? How many precepts uh, how many prayers you pray, okay? Right? How many the cleanest garment you have, right? The many people you have listening to your videos, okay? That doesn't matter, right? It's a time chance happening for them all, right? So every brother have a chance. Every brother have a chance in um, gaining, obtaining salvation, obtaining deliverance, being of the led, right? We just don't know who, right? So this is why we have to continually be humble, because the Lord said He is not to. Well, the Lord is not what the Lord is not to them that have a broken and broken spirit, and say such that to the broken and say such that be of a contrite spirit, right? So we know the Lord only looking for those the humble, okay? You know, and humble, what's humble, right? Being sorrow of your iniquities, right? Being you know not trusting yourself, right? Continue to pray and trust in the Lord, Abashah, right? That's being humble, right? Yeah. So I don't think the minute lesson you pull up is gonna save you. No, it's not, right? It could. No, I would say this. Yes, work, because the Lord spoke about having faith without work, right? So yes, you have to have works in this truth, right? You know, but don't put your faith in your works, right? Don't, because the Lord said what those that put their faith in their works, um, that's it's like I'm not gonna be able to quote it. It's like it, but it's basically something that people can go glory in. It's just gonna lead to sin, right? Proud. It's just gonna lead to proudness, right? Boasting about your words. Okay, yeah, boasting about your words. Right. So that's something the Lord, you can't do that. Right. But yes, words is important in this truth. Okay, it's a big part. It's a big part of your faith. Okay, your faith. If you have faith in the Lord, show the Lord your faith by your words. Okay, you know that's what the Lord told Peter as well. If you love Him, right? If you believe in Him, if you have faith in Him, show Him by feeding His sheep. Okay, you know. So that yes, I am. It's important, but I don't think that they're going to ultimately save you, right? Because it's time change happening for them all. Okay, so I'm closing here by giving all underground praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Kakulash. Till next time, faith, Shalom.